A very warm welcome to a World Championship 2025 pre-talk, and it's a great pleasure to have two of the world's best athletes with me today. Nice to have you here, guys. From Canada, Stirling Hart, two times national champion, 2018 World Trophy winner, and of course a former world record holder. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Nate Hodges, the reigning world champion, and of course the world record holder at hot saw. Nice to have you here.
Happy to be here.
So you've been here for, let's say, 1 day now, starting to get ready for the World Championship. How do you feel? Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty great, actually. I got a good night's sleep, seemed to adjust it to the 9-hour time change pretty quickly, and yeah, training camp's going well, and we've been quite productive, and looking forward to a good week.
Not feeling the jet lag?
No, it's gone.
No, it's always nice for us to be able to come over a bit early, and Switzerland has been a great host for us. Come over a bit early, got a few logs, kind of get the jet lag and the rust off, and it's the first time we all get together as a team as well. And they've been awesome hosts, and we're looking forward to getting over to Milan.
Of course, I want to start with the team competition, and like you just mentioned, this is like when you guys get together again. How often do you see each other during the year?
I mean, the team competition is, as a competitor to start, it's kind of a strange one, because it very much is an individualistic sport. And for the first time, we all come together and we're working as a team where we're normally competing against each other. And so it's a great atmosphere that we've managed to create as a team, and these little training camps really help us get off to a good start.
So you need a special strategy as a team that normally competes against each other, right?
Yeah. It's like Stirling said, it's interesting when you combine the forces of what's typically a competition amongst each other. Now I'm like, hey Matt, what do you think about this? And he's like, well, yeah, and we don't always like to share our fast tips, but it's in our best interest as a team. So, but we're all good buddies, and along with, even Canada, I feel like we're all just such good friends. So, it's great to be together and work together as a team. And
it was great watching you guys.
But it is a weird, because obviously similar to other European rivalries. Man, I'm struggling today. Australia, New Zealand, and Canada and USA has always been a rivalry. But then all of a sudden we're here at the same training camp, and it's been cool. We run some races and everybody's training, but everybody's kind of still doing their individual team things and keeping things a little bit under wraps, and it creates a pretty interesting vibe here at the training camp.
Are there any discussions about the positioning of the different athletes, or who's going to go for what? I mean, now that you're here, I think that's not going to be a big thing, but back home, who's going to compete in the stocks, or who's going to take on, the underhand chop? Is that something, or who decides on that?
I don't know how you guys do it. Most of ours is kind of discussed beforehand, so that guys know exactly what they need to train for when they show up. And then we basically come over, and when we're doing a training camp with them, we're basically just trying to, sow dissent among the team and make them all think they should be doing other events and try. That's the only way I think we've been able to beat the States the last couple of years is mental games. So.
Is it like that?
When did they beat us?
Not since you showed up.
He said a couple of years. Maybe meant last couple times that they beat us. But no, I think each country has some sort of a system in place for how they pick their athletes for the team, and it's typically data driven. You look at your strongest competitors in each event, and that's who you want there. And that's kind of what we've done with Team USA. It's been, it's pretty much been a lot of the same guys doing the events, with the exception of this year for a change. I'm running the stock saw. A little different, but I think, it's going to be a pretty similar team when we have our, the big sawing events and the chopping events will be our typical Jason Lentz, Matt Koger, and Mark Boquin. That's been a pretty competitive team, so.
Yeah, it looked pretty competitive today.
Yeah, not bad. It's decent.
Yeah, and
they've been a nightmare.
Okay, let's put it like that. They've been an absolute nightmare.
I think Australia's the nightmare.
Yeah, let's talk about your opponents. Who do you think are the big dogs in this competition? And who might be like the dark horse on Friday?
Well, I think it goes without saying. Pretty typical of the overseas, teams, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, and the United States, being really competitive with each other. And I feel like, the teams kind of go up and down, but for the most part, they seem to be getting better. It might be like the stock market, but at the end, it's like, damn, they're getting better. The world records are getting, there's world records every year. Well, it might be Australia doing it, but I think United States had a record for our U.S. team last year. But you don't count out the European teams. I mean, they're putting in the work and they're getting better and better and better. So it's like,
they're really starting to close the gap.
Yeah.
Like in years past, a lot of times we'd always bring a spare athlete or two with us. And, to kind of, we were expecting certain results and knew what our teams were capable of running and what kind of placing that could give us. So after qualifying in the first rounds, a lot of times we'd run our alternate to give them a chance to be up on stage. And it might not necessarily be our absolute fastest team, but we want to give everybody a run. But nowadays, like, the margin between the top team and the bottom team is getting less and less and less. So like you have no time at all to let off the gas in any race whatsoever. So, it'll be interesting. Like, Europe's definitely, they're coming.
So if I had to nail you guys down to names, what would be the team that you think has the biggest chance of taking home the win, and what team would be like the dark horse, the team that could surprise everyone?
I mean, Australia is obviously the favorite, and until they're beaten, they're the favorite. Like, we've seen them beat in the past, but it's been a while. So I think if you're saying anybody other than them is the favorite, but anybody out of those top four, like you said, the overseas teams, your Australia, New Zealand, Canada, USA, I think those are kind of your perennial favorites until somebody does really push through. But teams like Poland have been right there, right knocking at the door every single year. So, I mean, they'd be my kind of dark horse to come and disrupt one of the medal rounds.
All right.
Yeah. I would agree with that, yeah. I mean, and yeah, I wouldn't call like Canada a dark horse, but the way Canada's like performing this year, I'm like, damn, we got to be on our toes, They could sneak right in there and stir things up, cause a little upset. But as far as European teams, I mean, I think Poland's really strong as well. So it'll be interesting, for sure.
It felt like watching you guys, with the practice sessions, everybody seems to be very confident. And the spirit of Swiss, Canada, and USA athletes working together, giving each other tips and advice. Those Swiss rookies, they were looking up to you, and I don't know, you took like at least an hour or something to show them some techniques and new styles. Is that also something that's maybe the reason for the development that we've seen in STIHL Timbersports over the last few years? Like you said, in the stock market, it just keeps rising and rising and getting better and better.
Yeah, I really think so, and that's what I truly love about this sport is how, us athletes that we're gifted to do well in something, we love passing that on. You know what I mean? And it's pretty neat. Like in Stirling taking that time to do that, he enjoys that. He's not like he doesn't have to do it. He's not pushed to do it. He enjoys that, and he enjoys seeing athletes get better. And you keep doing that, and eventually everybody as a whole in the sport, it's going to get better. It's going to be funner to watch. It's going to be more competitive, and everybody's happy.
I definitely do find that now. Like, I've been in the sport, like, I'm not that old, but I've been in it a long time. I've been actually like competing nearly 30 years now, because I started when I was really young. And but what I am finding now is I almost get a lot more enjoyment out of the team. Like, winning as a team trumps anything for me individualistic. But seeing people that I have helped train have success, and like there's people that I trained as rookies, and even like Ollie Reinhardt, one of the top Swiss guys, he said to me today, he's like, oh, do you remember this training camp in 2017 I came over and did in Switzerland up in the north? And he's like, yeah, I cut my first underhand there ever. And he's been the Swiss champion, and there's other guys too. There's another guy, one of the rookies that you're talking about, I competed with his dad. That's like I'm getting to the stage now where competing with people's kids. And no, I think that's been a really special, that's one of the things that's really kept me in the sport, really, is being able to pass on all the stuff that I've learned over the years and then see people have success with it and come back, and it's super rewarding for me.
Yeah, it must be really interesting to see this happening on the one side, and on the other side you have guys like Nate, who appears, I don't know, in 2022 and suddenly rocks everything. You know, it's
Yeah,
Yeah, it
but,
sucked.
But, well, yeah, but
How
that
long it took
also,
us.
that's one thing I always, got to give credit where credit's due. Like, so many athletes have helped me. My thing is, I just expedited the process, right? So I dove in like just full force and reached out to everybody. Even Stirling. I was a competition with him in Powell River, Canada. This was 2019, and he comes over. He's like, Nate, dude, if you were to do this and help and put your angles like that, and it's hard to process it because I'm so new, but it's like he helped me. Lawrence O'Toole. Braden Meyer. There's so many. The list goes on and on. Del Beams from Australia, Matthew Gurr, Mitch Hewitt. There's countless people who have helped me in every discipline of this sport to help me get to where I'm at. All those little things add up. I didn't magically just was gifted and knew how to do this. I had to ask the questions, and they gave the answers, and it's pretty cool.
You definitely expedited the process, though. I remember seeing a video of you chopping a standing somewhere, and it was raw, but you could see the potential. And this was maybe 8 years ago at the most. Like, I don't know how long you've been in this kind of circuit now, but then you just went from here, straight up. Like, you kind of figured out what you needed to do to win, and you just went straight to that.
Yeah.
You didn't go through all the what about and try and figure it out my own way. You just, how do I win? And just went boom, straight from A to B, and it's been pretty cool to watch.
That's actually something I want to take on this, how to win. What is it going to take to win the team championship? And does it take to win the individual world championship?
I think the team thing, you got to have the right people in the right positions. And one of the reasons Australia has been so dangerous year in and year out has been Braden Myers on that underhand. Very few teams have been able, they pick up 3, 4, 5 seconds on teams sometimes there. And, we've got Nathan Cumberland back. We had him last year, and he was getting nearly able to match Braden in the underhand. He's cutting the best I've ever seen. And so he's kind of our giant killer, having him back. He was away for a few years. And so it's going to take, but for us to take out, US, New Zealand, Australia, our top guys will all have to cut their absolute best cuts when it matters the most. So we'll need to give 110% and maybe hope for them to slide back to 90 or something. So it's going to be a tough one.
I see you nodding your head. That's
Yeah. Well, it's 100%.
That's what it takes.
Yeah, like you said, you got Braden Meyer, and right out of the gate, they're in the lead. And now you're playing catch up, and it's, statistically, you're not going to beat them. You can match them at best, and so you got to look for other places in the transitions. What can we do here? And just study their film of what they're doing. Going, well, we can gain a tenth here and a tenth here, and then okay, there's 6 tenths, and and it comes down to that, and so we can beat them there in the technical stuff, maybe, hopefully, because we ain't beating Braden Meyer in the underhand. It's I'm not gonna.
I'm so much looking forward to that competition because
Yep.
it's so enjoyable and the crowd just really goes crazy when you do that.
Yeah.
But of course, if we talk about team competition, we also have to talk about the individual championship, and that's a bit different. So, especially, I think the psychological approach. What was your secret last year, and what will it take this year to defend your title?
Well, I think this year versus last year, there's not any room for mistakes this year. I made a mistake last year in the stock saw, and I knew right when I made that mistake that mathematically I was still in it. I was like, it's going to be rough, but I can do it, right? And put that behind me. Don't stress on my mistake in the stock saw. And I did it. I made it happen. It worked out. Maybe a little luck, but this year I don't think I have room to get last place in the stock saw. So I'm gonna just have to go one event at a time and do what I do. I train enough to where when I get on that stage, it becomes automatic. I'm not stressed out. I'm not awkward. It's just you got to do it. I put in the work, and then you just hope that you have a good day. Because it doesn't matter who you are. You can make a mistake in any event out there, and you just hope that you don't have those mistakes, and that's what it's going to take. And I think. That being said, there's several guys out there who if they have that day, they're going to win. Whether it be me or Braden or Jack Jordan or Marcel. There's a bunch of guys. The Poland kid. All of them. It's going to be a bloodbath out there, even in the first round. So put your head down. Hope you get good matched wood, and one event at a time.
Sterling, like you said, you've been with STIHL Timbersports for so many years. You've seen so many champions. what do you think is the secret recipe? Is it what nature said, or is there also, I don't know, something special, something extra that has to be there on that special day?
I mean, you definitely have a different game plan now than you had, say, 10 years ago, you know, with a different scoring system and elimination. Like, you know, you can't just kind of putter away at the first few events and then wait for your good ones, because you might not get a chance to pull out your single saw or your springboard or your hot saw. And I think that's where Nate has really shone, is like figuring out exactly what you need to do to win this event. You need to just be in the top. You just need to basically be in the top 8 of those first 3 events, you know, and then you can advance, and then the points double. And then you just need to be kind of in the top 6, and you need to just get yourself within striking distance in that hot saw event. And, you know, so I think being well-rounded definitely helps, but also knowing where your big points are going to come from, and maybe dumping a little extra energy and a few extra chains and some motor work into your approach. How many hours you reckon you figure you got in that hot saw of yours?
Dude. Yeah, you have no idea. I mean, that's the reality of this sport, is like, to be competitive and try to win on that stage, there's so much behind the scenes work that it's just astronomical, the amount of, and everything. So I mean, it's a full time, you could spend like 40 hours a week on one event. Like, you know, you got 6 of them to deal with. So that's part of it. You got to like schedule everything out. I can't get distracted with my hot saw, because that tends to happen. Takes a lot of my time. So I was happy to ship it here and get rid of it, honestly. So I'll deal with you, and I'll deal with you when I get to Switzerland. But
it is such a massive commitment to be great in this sport. And you can tell the people, like you said, even stock market, there's some people that rise, and there's some people that, you know, I had my few like really good years and then kind of plateaued for a bit, like, but the amount of time that it takes, like, money's one thing, but the amount of time it takes to get to that stage, like, equipment, you got to have the right equipment. You have to have those relationships to get that equipment when you need that equipment, and have time to train with it properly, the wood, and then there's 6 events, like, and you have to put a substantial amount of time into each event leading up to this championship. And there's only 7 days in a week, and there's only 24 hours in a day. And if you've got businesses or kids or a job, or, you know, it's you got to really want it. You got to really want it.
You got to
really want it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I really want it right now. So.
We saw that last year and everything approaching these World Championships. What about the pressure? Now it's so much work all year round, just like you said, and then you have to find your top form on the day. How do you calm yourself down? How do you get focused, and how do you get that performance on the day going? I mean, of course, there's the...
Yeah, like, I want to touch on something Nate said earlier, actually, is like, if you put the time in, by the time you get on the stage, you are just executing. It's like you've wrote a play, and then somebody's going out and just doing the play. It's like you leave as little to chance as possible. Like, you've cut so many blocks, you've cut so many discs, that you know every possible variable that could come out when you're doing this. So by the time you go on stage, you're not necessarily nervous, because you know what's going to happen. And I feel like a lot of those nerves come from the unknown, if you don't feel ready. But when you feel truly ready and you've put the work in, you're not really nervous, you're more excited. You're more like chomping at the bit to get on stage. And like I get goosebumps talking about it, because I remember what it feels like to be ready. And, you know, you definitely look ready.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty interesting subject, because I remember talking to Stirling like 6 or 7 years ago about my first time I went to Sydney. And he's like, how'd it go? You know, I was like, I was so nervous. Like, when I get up to the block, I was so nervous to chop. And then, you know, Sydney is one of like it's the biggest wood shop in the world, right? It's where you go to try to get better. But anyways, I get up to the block, and I'm getting ready to chop, and I'm so nervous that I just couldn't even chop, right? And I remember him saying, well, yeah, I get that. He's all, now I just get excited. Like, when I was stepping up to the block, now I just get excited. And I'm thinking, man, that must be cool. And that's how I am now. Like, I'm ready. Like, get me on the stage. I want a hot saw. I want a freaking single buck. I want a springboard. I'm not like pressured. There's no pressure. I know what I can do. I just want to go out there and do it. I'm ready. You know, whether it ends up being good or bad, I know I can do well, and I need to make it happen. Like, doesn't always happen, but I'm capable of it, and that's what I want to do. I'm excited to get out there and do my best, have my best attempt at it.
I think that is one of the biggest things being a competitor, like, you know, your technique and everything, but I feel like your mental approach to the sport plays a huge part in how your career kind of goes. If you're nervous all the time, or you don't feel prepared, or you're fluttering about, or you know, you go through an event and you kind of black out when you first start out, you know what I mean? You're so nervous and everything comes at you fast. And if you're able to slow things down in your head and kind of be present for each event, think your way through it, and I think just really being mentally tough and mentally ready is one of the biggest things, and it's going to limit your mistakes, because it's never who necessarily sets a world record that wins this stuff. It's the guy that makes the least amount of mistakes that usually takes home the trophy.
So consistency is also
Exactly,
very,
yeah.
very important.
And that does take years to build that, though. That's not something that happens quick. Like, you tell people, oh, when they say they're nervous, there's no cure for that, right? There's no instant cure for that. You got to do time after time. You got to be exposed to the elements. You got to train. You got to be comfortable, and like, that's how you get rid of that, because that'll kill you. Being nervous and pressure, that'll you're lost, you know. So, yeah.
Get that muscle memory in.
It's got to become automatic, and that takes repetition.
So I asked you guys about your favorites in the team competition. This is going to be my last question. Who do you think are the favorites for the individual World Championship? And of course, also maybe name one of the dark horses, somebody that might surprise us all on Saturday.
Am I going first?
Yeah.
Who's the favorite? I think everybody's is probably like, man, Braden Meyer, you know, because he's just, you know, he's a machine. He ran everybody over in the Australian, and you're talking about the best wood choppers on the planet, and he just ran right through them. Won the first 4 events. I'm like, I got to deal with that. So I'm like, I don't care. I don't need to beat Braden Meyer in those events. I just need to be right behind them. So to answer your question, for me, I'm rooting for myself, right? I think I can do it. You know, I really do. It's a different stage than Australia. So I've got more people that can mix things up in certain events that couldn't necessarily mix them up in Australia. Maybe stronger springboard cutters or something. That's what I'm hoping, you know. We can play with the points, but I'm really hoping I can do it. I mean, I'm thinking me or Braden. That's, you know, but honestly, you got Jack Jordan. I know he's been training. Marcel's a weapon. It's hard to pick anybody. I'm just rooting for myself, because I'm like, I hope it's me. And then dark horse for me is, I don't know how to pronounce his name, unfortunately, but the young kid from Poland, he's an absolute weapon, and he's gotten to the point where he can like execute all the disciplines, and he's an athlete, and I think he can handle the pressure, maybe not the pressure of the world stage, and I'm not counting him out, like, so anything against him on that. He's young, but he does other sports, and I think he can do well, and he can, you know, come out and
so Shimon
shake
Grönwald
things.
is going to be happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's cool, and Matthias too. I mean, these guys are all putting in work, and they could knock me out in the first round. I mean, no problem. You know, those guys are beasts. So you never know.
I think that's basically their only chance, is to cut you off at the knees in the first round,
Yeah.
and not let you get to the second round.
The first round is going to be rough. Yeah.
It is.
The first round's going to be rough. Like, if a guy has a bad stock saw run, and then you've got all these top choppers, like, you know, those guys are animals, and you know, if you don't back up your chops with a good stock saw run, you might just be packing up your stuff and becoming a spectator, you know?
It's a brutal game.
Yeah, I think he's definitely right. And I mean, you know, coming back as the reigning world champion, I think Nate is definitely like your favorite. You know, he's positioned himself to win this competition, right? We have wood chopping, we have logger sports, we have all the different aspects of what we do all around the world. And, you know, in the last like 8 years, Nate has built himself into this athlete that wins this format of STIHL Timbersports. You know, he put all the time into the disciplines and did it exactly, that size wood, that species, that equipment, those saws.
Yeah, and the pressure you must feel when he steps up to the hot saw. He was the reigning world champion and the world record holder for everyone else.
It's kind of like
it's
kind of like he said for Braden in the underhand, like, you don't hope to beat him, you just hope to contain him. like, or hope for a mistake. Like, obviously you never hope for that out of somebody, but
Braden ain't going to make a mistake in the underhand thing, but I
might.
could make a mistake in the hot saw. But I'm pretty sure there's some guys that are probably thinking, damn, we got to deal with Nate in the hot saw. But they'd be trying to get rid of me early before the hot saw, you know? So
that's the thing. The way you're running, they're basically going to have to build a lead.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the way you've been running in practice and everything, I think you're definitely the favorite. But like you said, there's, you know, your 3 other overseas countries, Poland, Czech, and a lot of young guys coming. And like, if they don't get it this year, they're coming.
Yeah, Emil from Sweden, he's a monster. He's got a big swing. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm pumped. Let's go.
I think you're speaking for all of us. It's going to be an amazing competition. Thanks so much for taking your time, guys.
Thank you.
Can't wait till Friday and Saturday. Make sure to be there as well.